Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to invite you and to welcome you to our September 19th meeting of the Keep Pharr Beautiful Advisory Board. We're going to begin with our call to order. Ms. Cindy?
Mari Caballero.
Here.
Romeo Robles Jr.
Present.
Romeo Cantu.
Present.
Marisa Oliva.
Present.
Rolando Perez.
Present.
Mildred Escobedo.
Present.
Laura de la Garza.
Okay, Board, I need a motion on the floor to excuse those members that are absent.
Madam Chairman, I move that we excuse the members that are absent this evening.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor. I need a second, please. Okay, Ms. Escobedo seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The motion passes. We are moving on to item 1B, which is the invocation. If we could just put ourselves in the spirit of prayer, silence our minds, and open up our hearts to receive His word. Lord Jesus, your healing presence brings life and restores us to wholesomeness of mind, body, and spirit. Speak your word to us and give us renewed hope, strength, and courage to follow you in the midst of life's sorrows and joys. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Before we move on to our item number 2, we have some special guests here today that I would love to call to the podium so they may introduce themselves to all of you, all of us.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for affording us the opportunity to be here. I'm Jonathan Flores. I'm the interim city manager here for the city of Pharr. So I wanted to formally introduce myself and my assistant city manager, David Friedland. You know, it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank you all for the hard work and the stuff that everything that you do for the city of Pharr through the Keep Pharr Beautiful organization. So we really appreciate your efforts and everything that you guys do. You guys are valued, and it's just a blessing to be here and to be able to see, you know, the hard work and all the decision making that goes into everything that you guys do. So thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you.
You're in.
Yeah.
Just so y'all don't get us confused on the shorter one. So thank you, and thanks for having
No,
us.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We move on to item 2A, administrative. Under administrative, we're going to approve the minutes for the last regular scheduled meeting, which was August 15th, 2023. I need a motion on the floor, please.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Cantu, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, Mr.
Robles.
Robles. All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. We move on to item 2B, discussion and on any upcoming Keep Texas Beautiful events for 2023. At this time, we're anxiously awaiting the new grant from Keep Texas Beautiful, sponsored by TxDOT. That is the Governor's Community Achievement Program award. And that grant will be released for us to start working on it in mid-January. So that is right now what we're anxiously waiting to see what the questions will be. And of course, all the departments within the city help give us the information to fill that grant out. Again, it's a grant that we buy for every year. It's a total of about $207,000. We've come quite close, but we've not quite won the award. And the award allows the city, the ones that win, the privilege of using the funding to beautify a space, a public space within the city, deemed important by not only the city administration, but it's also a partnership with TxDOT. They will provide the engineering and the planning. We are given only 2 years to see it to fruition, and then we lose the grant, right? So it's So while we do have administration here, it is key, and I want to thank you. We did have representation at the state Keep Texas Beautiful conference this past summer. We had Ms. Hannah Marble from Parks and Recreation attend, and it's one thing to see it and read about it, but when you're there and you're hands-on and you get to see the winners, and I will tell you, gentlemen, that this city has been fulfilling every single pillar in the grant. It's just that when you go to this conference, you actually see how all the cities do things a little differently and outside the box, and that's what garners the award, or that's what kind of takes them over the edge and gives them those extra points to win. So it's very important, I believe, to have city representation there at this conference yearly, because it gives you that insight into possibly what we're missing. We're doing everything, all the different programming is there. It's just, how do we take it and spin it a little differently to capture what we need in order to get us to that winning score.
How much is the grant for, you said?
So the grant is divided by city population. In other words, we compete with cities within our population category, right? So there's 8 different population categories. And I mean, we don't compete against the McAllens, or we don't compete against the Dallas, Texas. We compete only with cities of our own population group. But having said that, it's very inspiring to me. When I attended a few years back by myself, I went, that I could honestly say, I was like, our city's doing everything. We're doing everything. But it's just trying to figure out, how can we do it a little different? How could we spin it? How could we market it? So anyway, that's the whole thing. It's a big deal. It's a big prize money. It's a big deal at the state level to be able to say that you won this award. Valley cities that have won it in the past include South Padre Island. I believe McAllen just won it this summer. The story behind the South Padre Islands and the McAllens, they're set up very differently. As a Keep Texas Beautiful affiliate within a city, you can be under the wing of the city like we are here, and have an advisory board, and then basically your resources to get things done are the city employees, and you're at the mercy pretty much of fundraising to do what, your educational materials, the things that what you want to get out to the public, right? So you're basically, we don't have a budget to work with, we don't have employees to handle. McAllen, Keep McAllen Beautiful, it is independent of the city. They have been around for over 2 decades, I believe. They have their own board of directors, they have their own administrator that runs it, they have a physical location, they do their own, they have money. They run their own budget, they have their own, they have an office, and so there's no right way to do it. There is no right way to do it. You can do it one way, you could do it the other way. So, but there's been, I think Weslaco has won it, Brownsville has won it. So it is possible. It is possible. What I have found as a layperson looking in, as a volunteer, is that once COVID hit, it got real competitive. And I'm trying to figure out how and why, but it really got competitive. And I'm seeing so many more applicants, and I'm seeing so many more distinct projects that is filling the need, but it's just at a different level. So that's So that's what I can say, but I thank you again, and I'm not sure if you realize, but yes, the city sent representation this year, and we're real grateful for that. And Hannah was able to share with us at our last meeting all the wonderful things that that she gained by attending, and as a matter of fact, has offered and will be giving the board a board retreat, because she attended one of those workshops when she attended in July, I believe it was in July. So a lot of benefit comes from sending representation. A lot of learning goes on, a lot of networking goes on, which is also awesome. So yeah, thank you. And I'm sorry, I went a little bit too far. We're trying to get, I'm sorry. Any questions so far on that before we go on? Okay, all right. Then I don't have anything more to add on the Keep Texas Beautiful upcoming events. We'll go on to then administrative item 2C, discussion and action, if any, on the Keep Pharr Beautiful 2023 projects. We're going to go on, and I just did mention right now that as a team here, as a board, Hannah has agreed to give us a board workshop. And as you're going to hear from her when she does her department announcements, she has a big project coming up in December. So we are thinking that the board retreat might have to wait until maybe January, where she has time to really work on it effectively. And so we'll be doing a board retreat, and we're going to work it out to where it's possibly part of the meeting, and you don't have to come back in. We maybe go into executive session, and that becomes our little board retreat. We're still trying to fill out all the correct, we're going to do it the correct way, right? Get our legal and our administration behind to give us guidance. But we do need a board retreat, and we will get one. Okay, so that was one thing. Secondly, I know we spoke about, it was mentioned also, a possible project is fundraising for this pollinator garden that Ms. Hannah's going to talk about. We do have current funds, and but we will perhaps at the board retreat, it might be a better time to really delve into suggestions, ideas, and where you could just really get into details, right? But that has been discussed, and that we will do that. But I believe for now we have enough funding to do the pollinator garden. And just the pollinator garden, again, was going to be in recognition for our retired board members, to put a name on it, and then that way it'll perpetually continue as we exit the board. It'll be continued to be developed, and it'll be hopefully something that just continues in recognition for the board members that have served Keep Pharr Beautiful, right? It's better than giving them a plaque, I think, or we thought, well, we could give them a plaque or give certificates somewhere, but this is so meaningful because it is there for everyone to enjoy, and it's in their honor and on their behalf. So before we go on, did we have a motion on the floor?
For the record, that we were joined by a board member here,
Okay.
Ms. De La
All right.
Garza, arrived at 5:43 p.m.
Okay, so we've got that. All right, so without further ado, and the third thing, before we do get the presentation on the pollinator garden, someone mentioned they wanted a tour of all the facilities. We have 3 different departments that work with us on this committee. We've got Parks and Rec, we've got Public Works, and we've got Code and Health. They each have distinct services that they provide and locations that they serve, where they serve, and they all influence the overall picture of keeping Pharr beautiful. So, having said that, we have new members that have asked to tour the facilities, and so again, we're thinking of the next meeting. We meet here, we call, we take roll call, and then we culminate to go take a tour. It'll leave from here and then come back from here. we're going to iron out all the details to see where we start off first. I know that Ms. Hannah is very anxious to show you the nature center, the Vanguard Nature Center. And I know Mr. Peña is probably real happy to show you the bodega, the warehouse, and everything how they have their recycling, and just a little bit about what they have at their facility. And I know that there's some parks that we've talked about that some of you are like, well, where is that? You know, the Allen Arnold Park, the South Pharr, what is it? Jones Box, how could I forget? So this will be a great example for you to put a picture to when they come up and they talk. Again, we need to drive by some of the homes where code has put the plaques, the placards, the home address placards, which is, I know we just keep hearing how wonderful that is. So to get them a visual on how it really looks, standing at a curb, looking at how big it is, how it's right there, there's no way anyone's going to miss it, and the wonderful work they do. That I know you'll have some cameras somewhere, and just we'll get together and we'll plan it all, and that we're hoping for the next meeting in October to do that tour for you. We'll have waters, and we'll keep it comfortable. My understanding is there's a possible van that we can get to take us, and a driver. So we'll be working on that. Again, we'll be clearing it with administration and with legal to make sure that we're doing everything accordingly. But okay, without further ado, we're going to ask Ms. Hannah to come forward. This is administration item 2C1.
Hi, good evening. Hannah Marble, urban ecologist with the City of Pharr Parks and Rec. I don't have any photos for this particular part of my presentation right now. I kind of wanted to take this time to clarify a couple of things regarding the pollinator garden and get a bigger picture. This is one of those months that also kind of flew by for me in preparation for the fall. So I apologize for not having those detailed landscaping plans for y'all ready yet. But October, I think that would be a really good start to our tour, is we can kind of open the meeting with some landscaping plans and include those 3 parks so we can get a visual and kind of see what's out there. So it's fresh in our minds. But just a couple things. There are 3 potential locations for this. One being Jones Box Park in southern Pharr, which is a really good candidate. There's also a wonderful splash pad that gets very high visitation, so a pollinator garden around those restrooms is a really good option. Allen and William Park, City School Park, up in northern Pharr. It is connected to a school, as well as Dr. Long City School Park. I believe Allen and William is the one that is closed during school hours, though. So that one might be not too sure. But because they are connected to school grounds, that gives them visibility to the kids attending those elementary schools. So that's just something to consider as we move forward. I estimated roughly $1,200 for the majority of the supplies to cover like a 1,500 to 2,500 square foot garden, have some kind of natural border. Due to some recent natural phenomena at the nature park, we've got plenty of mesquite logs that would line it really nicely. So that could be really cool. And this includes things like mulch, plants, seed, and signage. One of the things that I did want to bring up about this garden is the funding and all of that. I am working with the National Wildlife Federation again, so I have an ongoing habitat restoration project that's going to take a few years and that's larger scale. But they approached me again about demonstration gardens for pollinators, and the particular goal of that grant is a more manicured, polished pollinator garden that's very accessible to kids, not like full brushy habitat. So that could be a potential source of funding for one of these gardens. I just need to clarify with their representative to see if it's okay. Maybe the sign might come out of our budget more than anything else, but that would cover a lot of the money. Yes, plants, mulch, and anything else to finish it up. The last thing is the water feature. I think that solar pumps and things like that would be our best bet. and maybe a little bit on the smaller side. I do have concerns about vandalism,
Yeah.
just because it would be in a very public, open area. Regardless of which park it's at, all three parks, they see a lot of younger kids that like to ride on stuff. So, yeah, just something to consider. Something simple like a solar pump is relatively cheap and easy to replace, as opposed to a larger feature that, you know, if something breaks, you gotta gut the whole thing. Last thing, I know that there was mention of like insect repellent plants and things like that. I don't want to veer too far off the agenda item, but I think that that would be a wonderful idea for the community garden in Jones Box Park.
Yes.
So even if we can't get it in this pollinator garden, like rosemary would be beautiful too. So rosemary, citronella, things like that.
Lemongrass.
Those would be wonderful. And I really am working hard on a plan to revitalize that community garden as well. So I'm excited to present that to you, but that'll probably be end of year, maybe early 2024. So keep your fingers crossed for that. But yeah, I know that people want to know what they can plant in their yards or just have in a big pot. So yeah, that'd be a really
Thank
good
you
idea.
so much
Yeah,
for
of course.
considering South Las Milpas Pharr.
Yes.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so that's what I have for the garden. Just a quick little recap and some clarification. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they would like to add so that I can look into it for October's meeting?
Just like a plaque, or what are you gonna have, like a rock maybe that's engraved or something, so
Yes.
we'll know that it's that person's, just some way of acknowledging the
Yeah.
retired board member.
Yes. Yeah, I was vision-wise, I mean, the only thing that I can think of right away is like, you know, a plaque where maybe you add
Yeah.
those names as they go or something like that. But if y'all have any,
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Like maybe just like a stone or something, and then we slowly start adding the names to it or whatever.
yeah,
I think it's perfect.
sounds good.
Any questions? Any further questions? One question is, I know you've done a series of planting throughout the city in different areas. Have you had much vandalism?
Not with the plants, no.
Okay.
The only thing we have to grapple with the plants is the heat.
Yes.
The
heat,
summer was
okay,
exceptional.
okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
So one of the questions I have is with the garden, is it gonna be just like a small square or round circle that you look in on, or is there maybe a possibility of having a sitting stone or something, a bench to sit on?
Ooh, yeah.
Or a pathway to walk through, just to make it a little more accessible?
Yeah, with a feature like a bench, that's something that the NWF could definitely cover.
Okay.
So I think that that's a really good idea. That's something that they brought up, is that kind of hardscaping addition
Okay.
to it. So yeah, that's a
And
really good idea.
If we do a bench, maybe also plant a tree to provide shade for the
Yes.
bench?
Yeah, I have exciting news about another tree grant, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, we're getting some trees too. But yeah, we can add that to the garden. I think having a nice, not super manicured and square, because it's already going to be very pretty. So maybe something a little bit like of a funky shape where people can walk around, and then, you know, in one of those little pockets, a bench. So again, I got to have visuals next time, but yeah.
I do have one question, if I may.
Yes, sir?
On the gardens, do you all follow like a layout or a type of, I'm not sure if you mentioned that or not.
Yeah, I'm
When you
going to
look around
have...
the gardens, is there like a,
Yes, sir. I'm going to have actual like overhead landscaping plans for you guys next time, so that way you
Okay.
can visually see at their maximum size, like roughly what the plant layout is going to look like. And I will also bring some examples from other nature sites, some photos of their pollinator gardens, so you can have an idea of what things are going to look
Yes.
like when they're in bloom. There's also different blooming cycles that we can account for, so something is always flowering for our pollinators and for the kids to look at. So yes, I will have a nice layout for
I'm
you
a
guys.
visual person,
Me
visual
too.
learner, so I have to see it in a picture.
Definitely.
But yes, thank you for that.
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Does Jones Park have a sprinkler system?
They do have irrigation in some of the areas, and so I was planning on utilizing that irrigation that's already in place, so that way we don't have to install something for this garden to save on the cost. So yes, that is the plan. I don't know if it's in the area that I'm thinking about, but I need to confirm with our grounds team. Cynthia, might you know?
I am not positive.
Okay.
I'm not certain. I know that we do have the sprinkler system or
Mhm.
irrigation system. I'm just not positive on that aspect.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look into it.
Can we find out at what times you guys turn on the sprinkler system? Because it's like super dead.
Yeah, everything's
I have
bright.
2 weeks that I've been exercising and it's,
Yeah, we'll look into it definitely. I'll let you know in October, and then we'll also clarify in that specific area whenever I bring the plans.
it's really, really pretty. And it would be really beautiful if we would have another bridge because I have other neighbors that tell me
Oh, yeah.
we have to park all the way into Ruiseñor, the old Ruiseñor Street, because they live on the other side and there's not a lot of parking. There's a little dead end when you walk in
Yeah.
where you park your vehicles. Mostly a lot of our neighbors go walk and go into that bridge, so everything gets packed.
It's a little clogged.
We have a little walking.
I just have one recommendation.
Mhm.
Due to the heat of the summer, due to cold winters, they're talking about a cold winter this winter. In the budget, I'd recommend that we don't just have like a one-time budget, that we actually need a plan for replacement of vegetation as things happen. And also, if I'm assuming you're probably going to do drip rather than sprinkler.
Yes.
We're going to need funding. So that would just be part of the planning process. Whether the city does it or the board does it, I don't know, but
Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
a maintenance plan, yeah.
My greatest concern is because the last time we planted, we had everything stolen. We had a big planting day at Jones Box, and you remember that? I think there's very few of us that are here still, but we had 40 volunteers. We had a ranger from Santa Ana that lives in the neighborhood. She came out and we planted natives around the parking lot, and everything was marked, and it was a really beautiful experience, and we hoped that would empower, like, it's all, they're labeled, and and by Monday morning I got a phone call from someone at Parks and Rec saying that they had gotten a call to go out there. So, but it's a risk we take anywhere.
Yeah.
And so my fear about installing a solar fountain or solar water pump,
Feature.
I'm wondering if maybe we should, there's things that I'm
Yeah.
concerned about, but
It could also be worked
just
in,
something that holds water.
yeah,
And-
as a phase project. So
Yeah.
maybe like phase 1 is the planting.
Yeah. Let's
Once
see
things
how
get
it goes.
established, we can get a visual of where there's a gap for a water feature, and then we can look into that.
Slowly.
I like that idea of doing it in phases.
But I'm assuming that if you have a splash pad, you have electricity out there, and if you
Yes.
have is a restroom, does they have power at the restroom as well?
Yes.
So couldn't you just tap into either if you're nearby? I agree that, I think there's too many problems with solar.
Okay.
Because you got birds that sit on it and then poop and you gotta clean it. And then it's just easier to take. So if it could be powered, like just a little electrical outlet, an underground wire,
Yeah.
that would be safer.
Okay.
The other thing I was gonna say on just real quick on this issue, I don't know, I understand, I heard about the planting, that's horrible, but I'm wondering if we have local groups that are around that neighborhood participate in the planting, if that would
It
help?
was that was kind of what we pulled from, but also other groups, but we pulled but it's a different time, and it was maybe 5 years ago, so I'm thinking if we do it again, and we do it again.
I have a recommendation. Maybe we have portable surveillance, and we need to educate our community from South Pharr that if you break the law or you start stealing, you're going to get arrested. You can't be stealing. We want to make South Pharr beautiful, and I do believe on enforcing the law. And it doesn't matter if it's kids. We talk to them because we got to educate our community out there.
I'm wondering if it's possible, especially if we get some grant funding, but if we also, in combination with it, not only are we putting in a pollinator garden there in the park for everyone, that maybe there's also like a tree giveaway or a seedling giveaway for the community who come out and participate or stop in, and we could do both, so they feel like they're getting stuff for their yard. We're also maybe educating about it
Yeah,
as well.
that would be a really good idea. And a lot of these nurseries, they'll sell like the plant sleeves, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
A
seeds.
pollinator mix, they could take it home.
That'd be really, really cool, actually. That's a really
And
good idea.
we could get a shout out to the neighborhood, surrounding neighborhoods to come out on that planting day.
Yeah. Definitely. Sounds like a really good idea to mitigate.
Well,
For sure.
I know we could be talking on this subject forever because it's exciting and everyone is wanting to do this too. But we're going to keep going,
Yes.
right? And because I know you've got something else, you've got we're going to get building and code back up here, and then you'll be coming back to the
Yes.
podium to talk to us about what's going on in December and what's kept you really busy. And then, of course, we have Public Works also that needs to come up. So, again, does anybody have any questions regarding our future educational pollinator garden for the recommendation of our retired board members before she goes and before Ms. Hannah sits down? We're good? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hannah.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. All right. We move on to administrative item 2D, announcements. We begin with building and code compliance. I believe Mr. Gamboa will be coming up to share.
Hello, members. It's the first time that I've seen you guys. I haven't been to a meeting for a while, but welcome. My name is Rick Gamboa, Health Coordinator for the City of Pharr, Code Compliance Officer. And what we have here what we do most of the time is we have our property maintenance program. We've changed the name a couple of times, but we decided that we were tagging people's lots for high weeds and not knowing that they were elderly or veterans. So with the experience that we have, it's been about, I think we've been initiating that program for 4 or 5 years now, and we went more into depth and knocking on doors, finding out who's elderly, who's not, who's a veteran, who isn't, and we've established a good rapport with the community. The only drawback on that, it's once a year, folks. So poor homeowners of ours want to have it every month. So we wish we could have the manpower and do it every month for all of you, but it's only once a year that they sign up for this program. It's only once a year, but it's very beneficial. They're very happy when we go out there and manicure their lawn. I mean, I don't think anybody else, any other city is doing that, but it's very rewarding when we go out there. And thanks to VITA volunteers, that they're outstanding. They bring us, we used to do a 4-man crew with our code compliance crew. We get 20 volunteers from VITA, or 25, so it makes our job a lot easier. By the way, we do 3 lots on that Saturday morning, and it's third weekend, depending on weather, to be determined. Second weekend, third weekend, but as a matter of fact, it's coming this weekend up again, and it's 3 lots that we select. Sometimes we put a 4th on the agenda because they forget and they have it cut. You know, the elderly want their lawn manicured. They don't want any long weeds. So we're very successful in that program, and it's very satisfying. And like I said, we have this program this weekend. We got 3 lots scheduled already.
Mr. Gamboa, and is that, do you all meet here?
Yes,
Y'all
ma'am.
meet here still? You're still meeting here
We meet with VITA. We meet with our crew here, and VITA prefers to meet us at the first location. So since it's a big crew,
Yeah.
and we furnish the drinks and the snacks for that day. And what was I gonna say about that? Yes. Oh, they also have to have their form for their safety. We have to fill out a what do you call it? Forgot the name of that form. Liability form.
Liability
Yes,
form.
ma'am.
Is that something the city provides, or is that something
No,
VITA provides
we-
for their volunteers?
We have our own.
Okay,
We
great.
just have them sign and make
Okay,
a
great.
roll call
Great.
for them.
Okay. And if we wanted to meet you Saturday, we meet you here in the
Yes,
parking
ma'am.
lot?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would be
Right
in
up here by the-
southwest parking lot?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
In that corner?
We start at 7:30. We usually start at it's scheduled for 8,
Mm-hmm.
but we like to get we go in and get all our equipment at 6:30. Be here by 7:30, and then we meet so we can start early in the morning and finish early. We're usually done by 11 or 11:30.
So the good meeting time's like 7:15?
Yes,
Here?
ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Any questions on my property maintenance program, folks? Well-
What is the VITA program?
It's I asked them. I don't know the actual name of it, but it's it's a lot of professional nurses. There was even a gentleman that was there. He was the only gentleman there, and I go, what's your specialty? Painting vehicles. So he was there in that program too. So it's a lot of professional. It's mostly females. It's mostly females. So it's they're very, very coordinated. They're friendly. The work ethic is very outstanding, and I mean, it's fun to work with because it's a lot of them. Makes our job a lot easier.
Do you take other volunteer groups? Or
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We started leaning on Vida because we were having a hard time with students not showing up, and then we'd have to do our staff. But Vida has been outstanding, folks. That's the only reason. But we take anybody that wants to come in and just fill out our liability form, and we're good to go.
The thing about students in this aspect, it's more controlled when we do like garden, like plantings. In this aspect, because I've been with y'all, you run into all sorts of obstacles, and it's not quite safe, I believe, for students to be handling the barbed wire, the old toilets, the tires, the trash that they may have to pick up because you don't want to run over it with the lawnmower. And the adults, Vida, it's all adults. And the responsibility is more, they're going to take more they're going to consider before they pick something up that might be dangerous, might have a tarantula underneath. I mean, shoot, we've been out and we've been chased by bees, you know.
And one of the biggest issues is they see the big group, they see our trucks. Uh-oh, I got a complaint. So we take complaints too, folks. So we take them in a good manner and take them down. Most of the times when we get that complaint, we look at our tablets, and it's already that complaint has already been addressed to our office. Okay, so that's a good thing about it. So
I highly, if you want to see this in action, is to attend one of their Saturdays. You get a really good picture of the work. And the city employees that participate in this, it's volunteer. They're giving up their morning. And the items that they use to mow and cut, they're items that they have gotten donated or they have bought and they've donated themselves. So they're giving up, and they've been doing this for how many years, sir?
I think 4 or 5 years
Yes,
or
I mean,
more.
ever since I can remember. So the beauty is that if you want to really and then seeing the people, the people
cry,
that
a
they're
lot of people.
helping, they're just so grateful.
A lot of
And
them cry.
So grateful. They're just so grateful and humbled by the fact that someone is out there on a Saturday morning doing this for them.
So if a group would like to volunteer, who do they contact or how to?
Just call our office, ma'am, the 402-2633 number. It's 402 code 2633, and we'll accommodate their
Request.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And then how do people request that their yards be cut? Do you identify them, or do they call you guys up?
We have our social media events that we promote, and that's how we get everybody. They either the elderly are there with their kids, and they write down the number because it's both in English and Spanish. So they call us right away. My mom's elderly, so we call them up. We go visit them, and we do a lot of the visiting to the sites instead of them coming over.
Okay.
And they're real good they're out on the field, and they are also really good about recognizing need, right? I mean,
Most of them we know because of our experience out on the field.
They've been, Mr. Gamboa, how many years do you have with the city?
Going on 15 in a week or so.
So he knows he knows the residences, the community, so yeah.
I have phone numbers. What do you need to know? Phone numbers. I got everybody's.
Yes.
Okay, any more questions for his property maintenance program? Okay, you want to go on to the next?
Okay, folks. So we started doing the elderly assistance of the property maintenance program, and then we found out that people were complaining, especially the elderly. We couldn't find your address. So a lot of people don't like to display their addresses, but then we found out, would you like to have an address on a 911 address? And this is how this program was established, because this is the second time around that we promoted. The first time around was the turnout was very low. nobody came up, and a very few people came out to apply. This time, guys, the phones were off the hook. We got 700 calls, 300 calls, 500 calls. So we're still behind on our installs because we added. This is the first visits that we get the veterans involved. And the difference with the veterans folks, I don't know if you guys seen the little address plaque. Now what we did, instead of the Pharr logo, we got their emblem for their military branch.
So this is the Pharr logo, and then do you have the one with the
No,
military?
we don't, because it's brand new,
It's
we just
brand new,
did that
okay.
one. We'll have it on next time for a
So what we'll
photo.
do is find, in our tour, we'll get with you, and maybe we'll find.
It's very-
where we can drive by and just see one that's the city of Pharr, and maybe
It's
there's a
not,
house down the
it's got
street
the city
that
of
has-
Pharr and the military logo, and
Very cool.
it looks outstanding, it looks outstanding.
So
What are
these
the,
are
what's the cost for these? These are like $10?
Yeah, for people that are not over 65 or not veterans, it's $10. For everybody else, it's free.
So regular homeowners can get them.
Yes, sir.
Now, can you get them? And I know this is going to be a question, probably it's going to be for
No
the-
McAllen, no, it's only
Not
Pharr.
far, but what if you live like in the plantation?
We had done a
communities.
study where over 55 Park was coming over, and we said no for the first couple of years. Now, guess what? We're getting everybody. Yes, sir.
Okay, good, because I've got about
Everybody.
1,200 residents at
As
the
long-
plantation that are going to be ready.
As long as the HOA is not going to give you, you're going to need to ask your HOA first, because there's a lot of rules and regs and policies and procedures that the HOA
I'm on the
have.
board of the HOA, so
Okay.
I will
Okay.
make sure that we have that in place. So 1,200 residents will be asking you for that.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody else have any questions regarding the address plaques program for Mr. Gamboa?
And the last part of it, guys, is the block parties that we
Yes.
have every month. We just had the last block party, August 24th. I don't know if it's the heat or what's going on with the residents. We used to have at least a dozen or more residents. The last two block parties, it's only been like 6 neighborhood residents that have been at our block party. So
Okay.
we have had to eat all the hot dogs ourselves, guys. So no, but the turnout's been low. I know it's been hot in these afternoons, so that's how it's been. It's been a pretty low turnout on these block parties the last 2 months.
And it's usually the third Thursday of the month?
Yes, ma'am. Third Thursday of the month.
Third Thursday of the month. And does anybody have any questions for Mr. Gamboa about what happens at a block party?
I do.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
What is a block party?
Basically, what we do, we join it together. It's not just us. It's Public Works, Fire Department, PD. We invite all the
departments?
entities to go and explain what the city does and how we can improve any surveillance that we need from PD, any code violations that somebody's building, any high grass, abandoned house, junk vehicles on our part, and then everybody else gets their take on what they got to. And it's very interesting because you're telling all the people what we do, but then come Monday or the other next day, nobody calls. So I don't know. Maybe we've satisfied their needs before. I don't know, but we try to do our diligence on any information, do's, don'ts, and what to do, and how we can help them, and how they can help us also if they see one of our trucks. Because before, as you can see, guys, this is a uniform that's kind of unique for entity, for a city, any city. So we go up there even to do inspection at a restaurant, because that's what we do also. And all their thing is, what are they? So we have to explain to them what we're doing at that location. We're here to do this. If somebody called, well, you're the one that called, and we know, just try to make them feel at ease, because they feel intimidated by the uniform. So it's all good, guys. We're good people.
Ms. Caballero, maybe we can make a recommendation for social media so it can be bilingual, because a lot of our,
They do it by the
Yes,
maybe
we-
a video where we can explain and educate our voters. I'm sorry, I just got out of an election meeting. Our community, how important these block parties are, because I am a resident in the city of Pharr, and this is the first time I'm being educated by Mr. Gamboa of our block party.
I'm
And
glad-
we have a lot of our people that are now on social media.
I'm glad
I think
you.
on social media, that they do that in English and Spanish, but I understand what she's saying, a video that could, possibly they could,
Be more visual maybe because I have a lot of our community, I always ask, like, what is it more you see videos. Like if you show them visual and, I know that when I have questions, I will call code enforcement and I'll ask, when are the branches or there's this going on, and they answer right away. But a lot of our elders in our community are not very educated, and this is the first time me being educated for a block party. I didn't even know they existed.
And they've been going on
We're,
for
we're
years.
starting to do the English and Spanish on all our flyers also.
Yeah.
So.
Can I make a recommendation? So I remember hearing about it. Unfortunately, I didn't go, and I live near there, but I didn't. Other than this meeting, I don't see it in the feed. I don't. It's just hard to learn about. And I live near there, and I didn't get a flyer in the mailbox, and I pay my bills online, so I don't see any advertisement comes in. So what I wonder is when you're going to have a block party a week ahead of the event, if you can put out. Have those signs that you can put in the ground on the little H frames, and they're corrugated, and just have them printed, and maybe just switch the date out, or they're not that expensive, and maybe just having them out a week prior, just like all the voting signs that we see.
We go a little bit beyond that, ma'am. We go and knock on every door, and all that neighborhood that's gonna have the block party, we go and hand deliver. If nobody answers, we put it on their a little.
But I live on Cherokee, like.
Yeah, but
right
if we
here.
haven't, but we don't, we haven't had
One at Cherokee.
block parties in that area. They usually, it's gonna be a problem neighborhood that they're requesting that for us to have the block party. So yes, and the latest one, the closest one to you would be Pepe Salinas was the last one we had. So the radius won't go all the way to Caffrey on your side, only through the apartments. Okay, so that's.
So it's
Yes,
not
ma'am.
for the whole city, it's just
No.
for very
Right,
big
no,
cities.
yes, ma'am.
But
Well,
Yeah.
they're
it's-
passing
it's-
out flyers.
They're anyone from the city can go, but the ones that are really getting the invite are the immediate.
Yes, ma'am, yes.
But do you
neighborhood.
want more residents to go?
Well, the turnout is usually good because what we do on those block parties is just give information. We used to have our two waste containers on each side, but because of the budget, we had to discontinue the waste container. So we're not doing that. We're just getting all the information on any complaints we can help out the citizens on.
Well, I'm just saying, even if you still contain your individual mailbox notifications, if you're going to be, because you're at Pepe Salinas, if you want to advertise it to people who drive by, having a
Put a
sign
sign.
out front would help. Oh yeah, it's coming, and that's the only thing. If you want to do a wider one without having to do more mailboxes,
Yes, ma'am.
unless you're definitely only targeting like that neighborhood. And one of the things I just wonder about, because I didn't grow up here. I grew up in San Antonio, but when I married my husband, who's from Pharr, he's he talks about snitching, and there's a culture of you don't want to snitch on people. So I don't know if that is a point of contention. They're worried about telling on their neighbor.
We have a 311 app that's very
remember I
good,
told you
and
that?
ma'am, from the 100, or I'll just go with that number 100, the 99 of the calls all have anonymous on it. So
Okay.
we go in and approach the location. Unless it's a branch that it's going over to the property, I usually tell them, he's gonna know that it was you. You still want me to approach the residents for this complaint? Yes or no? And they'll say yes. So, but yes, we're very confidential on our
Okay.
complaints, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think this is where, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I think this is where we can help the city
Yes,
out.
yes.
I mean, we all have our own social media. We all have our own people that we talk to, neighborhoods or principals. Like there's a principal right next to Pepe Salinas.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says, we just get the flyer, we pass it out to the people we know, we send it to the school and say, hey, if any of the kids there interested in going to this block party right after school is out, go to it. But this is where, instead of us putting it on the city, this is where I think we need to take a more proactive stance, and we get involved and we put it on our social medias and
It's
we
all
put it
about
on our stuff.
education.
And let's help the city to get more people out to these
It's all
events.
about education. Can I ask you, so will you be having one this Thursday, the 21st?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and where will that one be?
I'm not sure yet,
Okay.
but we are having one. We keep it at a regular. It's already on the calendars.
You're gonna have it in you have it in 2 days, you're just
In
not
other
aware
words,
of it.
yeah, on the 21st is the
Yes.
3rd, and then the 23rd is Saturday, and that
We-
is
we have
their
property maintenance.
the property
Maintenance.
maintenance
I'm
program.
gonna try and make it to one of your events.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Gamboa?
I just got one last thing
Yes,
for
go ahead,
our
sir.
August complaints, guys. The
Oh,
code
yeah.
compliance had 446 code violations, and that can be from everything that I mentioned earlier. From junk vehicles, high grass, abandoned house, running a business from home, building something without permits,
Oh, my
and on and on and on. So there was 446 code violations, 119 weedy lot cases total, not counting our health inspections that we do every first of the month. 565 cases, guys, for the month of August.
Wow. Y'all kept busy.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all kept very
You have a
busy.
lot of work, Mr. Gamboa, in South Pharr, because I've seen South Pharr very clean.
Well, it's citizens. If you know
We're
everybody
educating
there,
them.
they're helping us out a lot.
Good.
I can tell
That's
you that
good.
one
It's
thing.
about
Yes,
educating
they're
them and telling
they're
them.
helping us out.
Good job.
I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
I
you, folks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again, sir. Thank you. We move on to, we're still in administrative item 2D. We move on to Parks and Recreation. Ms. Hannah Marble.
Hello again. So
Miss
now I'll use my PowerPoint. Media guys. I have a couple things that I want to go over today, and I'll keep it pretty at a good clip. So the first couple of things are just volunteers and some programming that I've done. One is I had DHR volunteers out at the nature park at the beginning of this month. And oh my goodness, they did a lot of work. They helped me pull a lot of grass, and they did it with a smile on their face, which was really nice for a change in spite of the heat. I'd say they had a grass pile about like 8 feet wide and 6 feet high, and even our Parks and Rec guys the next Tuesday, they were impressed, and they were like, oh my gosh, we need to have multiple trips to haul this out. So that was 19 adults, and they did a wonderful job. The reason why we pull out this grass is because it's invasive, and we want to maintain our natural habitat there and kind of keep it native. So that was it for our volunteers. They did a great job. And then for programming and outreach, that is a photo of me. I did a presentation at Quinta Mazatlan this past week about plants for pollinators and other wildlife. I am more than happy to share the PowerPoint information with y'all and all that good stuff so y'all can get a handle on some of our native plants here in the valley. I'll have a little follow-up email with you guys so y'all can see that information. So yeah, that was at Quinta Mazatlan. So other cities reach out and they're interested in having someone in this field come out and talk to them and, just a new voice. Next, again, not a very pretty slide, but there's a link that leads to a nice little 1-minute video. We were awarded the Apache Tree Grant. They notified us about 2 weeks ago. Apache is a big oil corporation, but they have a sustainability division where they spend a lot of time investing in carbon credits, and a part of that is planting trees for carbon sequestration and all that good stuff. So we were awarded about roughly $5,000, and they're estimating about 250 tree saplings and seedlings. And I bring that up because we're going to be utilizing those trees for an Arbor Day celebration the first weekend of November, most likely. I will give you a definitive answer on that in October. This is we'll be using those trees for both a tree giveaway and volunteer planting. So 250 seedlings will give away an estimated 75 to 100, first come, first serve, and then volunteers come and help beautify our parks. So here's a super quick video on what the Apache Corporation is. This is something we can be awarded year after year. Gosh, that music is so motivational. I'm so happy we got it this year. So yeah, that's a little look into what this organization is, and hopefully we'll pursue this next year. Yeah. So looking ahead, I have a couple of things that I want to remind you guys of. Again, Rio Reforestation. This is the same slide as last time, same information. So this will be going on Saturday, October 21st, so come another month, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this is a really, really good opportunity to represent our city because it's being hosted in Pharr, which is very, very exciting for us and the Valley because it's the closest it's been to a large population in a while, a few years actually. So yes, if you guys have the time, I highly, highly encourage y'all to make it out there. Not only is it obviously a beneficial event, but the way it's organized and run is a sight to see. It's very well coordinated, and I have high hopes for this year. Any questions about Rio Reforestation?
Hannah, I was going to ask
Yes,
you,
ma'am.
I know that the refuge was looking to get some help with some of the recycling, because we've had help with some of the recycling from Pharr in the past, and we want for people when they go to Reforestation for there to be like a benefit also for them to have some educational purposes that they actually know, like this is the reason why we're planting trees, like it kind of just goes into
Yeah.
this cycle. So we were hoping that maybe the city of Pharr would help out with that. I don't know
Yeah.
if they, hopefully
That would
they
be
can-
fantastic. I've reached out to Public Works, and we're having a
Awesome.
conversation about that. So
Yeah,
that'd be
and it's awesome because y'all had done in the past, and when y'all roll up with y'all have the recyclable
The
bins.
mobile one, the mobile
Yeah,
one?
the mobile one, they're like, oh, so we're not, they realize like, oh, it's actually going somewhere, because in the past we'd get it, and then we go and we take it recycled, but when they actually see it, it's kind of like, it kind of
Yeah.
comes to like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing, and there's a benefit to it, so thanks,
Yeah.
Hannah, I appreciate
Cool.
that.
Yeah, of course. Moving on from there, I unveil our official Coastal Expo logos. So these were made by Julia Walsh, on our media team. She's a wonderfully talented graphic artist. We had a lot to choose from, and these are what we narrowed it down to. So we're gonna have everything branded with that circular logo because it's kind of a nice silhouette and stands out. Whenever we have the t-shirts made for Coastal Expo, and for those that aren't sure what that is, I'll explain in just a moment, we'll have the circle logo on front, large logo on the back shoulders, so no matter where the photo's taken, you can see, and then company logos on the back for those that are sponsoring this event. So again, this is taking place in December on the 7th and 8th, Thursday and Friday. Excuse me. This is a really, really, really big event. It is a huge field trip opportunity for kids across the valley. It was previously run by Miss Marisa Oliva for nearly 20 years, and she's done a wonderful job coordinating it, and she's been a huge help in making sure that we do it right. This will be at the Pharr Natatorium, and kids are going to learn about coastal ecology and outdoor adventure. So the really cool stuff is the canoeing, rock wall, and archery, and the nice stuff are the touch tanks and other exhibits that other organizations bring. So a lot going on, a lot to coordinate. We're going to see roughly 3,000 kids over those 2 days. So please look forward to that. I highly encourage y'all to come out either just as representatives of the city to see what's going on and how it's being run, or you can also come out as a volunteer. We'll give you a nice little t-shirt with these beautiful logos, and y'all can help out and be stationed for the day. So any questions about Coastal Expo? Oh, I'm so sorry. I brought this up because of the logos, but we're also opening up general registration for teachers on October 9th. So if you know teachers who are interested, but may have not heard about it, I've reached out to a lot of principals across the valley. But if they haven't heard of it, please let them know that we're going to be opening up general registration on October 9th for this event.
October 9th opens up. And the dates for the expo is December?
December 7th and 8th, and it's a 2-day event, but that's so we can get as many kids as possible. The kids aren't coming for 2 days. They're going to choose the 7th or the 8th.
And they can spend all day, or?
Yes, it's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and we are doing like staggered bus arrivals. So for kids coming from Brownsville or Rio Grande City, we do have a couple schools interested. They'll probably get there a little bit later, but they're going to stay a little bit later.
Can you go back to your previous slide of your
Yes, sir.
expo slide? I wanted to see it.
This
So
one?
this one, and this is something that you all have already created and have passed out?
This is the Rio Reforestation.
Oh,
This
this
is
is
U.S.
October.
Fish and Wildlife.
Oh, okay, you don't have one for the December one yet? created?
No, we don't have an official flyer for that yet. We were finalizing these guys, the logo, sorry.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna have a flyer next month for that registration once it opens, and we're also gonna be kind of posting it around the city and on our social media, so teachers can have access to
And the
that.
other one, we'll go back to the other one just for 1 second, I'm sorry. So that's the October 21st one.
Yes, sir.
That's coming up.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, you might just want to give it to your social media people, because I just looked at the calendars and none of your stuff is on there.
Okay.
So they can maybe post it, so that'll get you more kids.
Will
Great.
do.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Any more questions for Ms. Hannah?
I have one question. I don't remember if I've asked this, but my kids, we like to go, they like the skate park by your headquarters. And I've asked this before, but we don't have an answer yet. There is a robot library, little library.
Oh, yes.
And the plexiglass is broken, but who is in charge of repairing that is my question.
Is it a city, is it
That
a
I'm not,
small little
I'm not, I
pilot?
mean, it's on our city property, so I would assume so.
You think
but
it's the library?
maybe.
If
It's a
you
little
look at
library.
The plaque, it'll say who it is. There's probably a little plaque on it, because I know we used to do it with the South Texas Literacy Coalition, and usually they will sponsor it and they will be in charge of repairing that.
We've looked at it, because we used to borrow and put books in, but
Yeah.
the rain gets to it now, because there's no, and it's, I haven't seen a
So what I'll,
tag.
what
Yeah,
I'll
there's
do
usually a
is
tag on it.
I'll get with you and
Okay.
give me the exact location, and I'll do a run-by, take a picture, and if there's nothing on the plaque, then I'll call our library to see
Yeah,
if
it-
maybe they're sponsoring it.
It should, I think that one is, it should be Parks and Rec because it is on our property.
Okay.
So I'll put in a work order to get that glass
Yeah,
fixed,
'cause
excuse
I
me.
have books to put in there.
Okay.
And I don't know how many little libraries, I mean, I love the whole idea of the little libraries. I don't know how many there are around the city, but that's one that we know.
Yeah, for sure.
Hannah, I want to thank you for your, again, great presentation. Thank you again for all the wonderful slides and everything. We have wonderful opportunities to volunteer and help Ms. Hannah out. If you've never been to a reforestation, highly recommend it. I think you really get a good idea as to what they're doing with the natives. And then, of course, this is a joint project with U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Yes.
Congratulations on the $5,000 grant.
Oh, thank you.
That's money. That's money, and that's, thank you. That's excellent. Not everyone just gets to go to Quinta Mazatlan on a Thursday night and do a speaker series. So congratulations to Ms. Hannah for being invited to Quinta, and because these are people from all over the valley that come to these talks, these pláticas, these talks. So thank you. And again, had the pleasure of volunteering at one of Ms. Oliva's RGV Coastal Expo when they were held in Edinburgh. And it is a sight to see all these little kiddos. It is work, and they're going to need help. And
Yeah.
so another wonderful opportunity for us to spread the word and get volunteers out there. And if you just want to see what this wonderful program is about, and wonderful that the city of Pharr is able to host it. So that's an awesome thing. So again, thank you. Any more questions before she sits down?
Thank you for your passion. I can tell you have a lot of passion in what you do.
Of course. And I'll send a follow-up email with this information and other things that might be helpful, like flyers, QR codes for registration, and things like that for the Coastal Expo. So
Thank you.
keep an eye out for that.
Anything you have had on the Coastal Expo, we'll share on our Refuge website.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd
Awesome.
be
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thanks again, Hannah.
Thank you.
again.
Thank you, Hannah.
And we sorry, but we just got one more department, which is, we're still on item 2D. And Mr. Peña, Public Works?
I'll keep it short. Not like last time.
Oh, but gosh, but sir, it was a great presentation.
I appreciate
I was
it.
very impressed.
Good afternoon, Madam President and members of the board. I wanted to add some information into the discussion about the Governor's Community Achievement Award. For those of you that are not familiar with it, we apply for the grant. They send us about, I believe it's 20 questions that we have to answer to. The reason all the departments are involved, because some of those questions pertain to finance, some of them for public works, for infrastructure, some for planning and zoning, even the development services. So what we do, we divide those questions, we get the replies to those questions, and then we submit all the information through the website. I did want to add that although we did not get the funding, we did get the Governor's Community Achievement Award. Give me one second.
The Award of Excellence, I believe, right?
Yes, ma'am. It was the Award of Excellence. So what that means is that, I guess on a scale from first, second, and third, we got second place. We were about, I believe, 7 points off from actually obtaining the grant. So although we didn't receive it this past year, we did get the award on 2023. So I think as a group, we're certain that we're gonna get it, within the next year or so. I just wanted to, add a little bit more into that as well. So this report is gonna be for the month of August. And I did want to mention, I apologize, that we do have monthly meetings with our Office of Organizational and Strategic Excellence. And that's where we discuss anything having to do with that award. We go over the questions, see who's still pending their answers, and so on and so forth. So it's a group effort, and everybody participates, and they do great. So for the month of August, in regards to our outreach programs and events that we have, it was a little bit slower because during the month of August, we renew all our memorandums of understandings, which are agreements. So we work with the PSJ school district, which is one of the biggest districts in the valley. So it does consume most of our August month. We also get new agreements, so we have to send the bins, 4 yards, 6 yards, depending on the output that they have on the recyclables. But we did host a trash bash event, which we always have at the end of the month. It was on August 26th, and like always, it's from 8 in the morning until 1 p.m. And this is where our residents have the opportunity to bring any bulky items they might have laying around the house that may create a nuisance for the environment, like mosquitoes or trash or anything else. And they also get to bring up to 8 tires for free. Usually those tires anywhere else cost between $5 to $10 to even at a recycling center, but we allow them to bring 8. And obviously if they come with 10 or 15, it's a case by case, but we usually allow the residents to bring those tires in. During this past event, we collected 125 overall tires and close to 7 tons of bulky items. And we usually collect, a lot more bulky items than tires. At our residential collection station, we collected a total of 23 tons of bulky items. That's for the month of August. The other one was just for that one event, which was not bad. It's 7 tons for just one day. It's wonderful. And also for that month, for the residential collection station was 23.14, which includes trash, brush, and any other debris that they might have around the house. Overall, we had a grand total of 30 tons. Because although we have the residential collection station open from 8 to 5, we have that trash bash event and some other little things that we do around the shop, so it totaled up to 30 tons. Overall, for the month of August, and I honestly think this is impressive every month, because although when you drive around you see 1 or 2 tires laying around, we always average almost 3,000 tires monthly, and that's only for Pharr residents, because we do verify that they have a residence here in the city of Pharr. So it's amazing how 3,000 tires monthly get recycled from our streets or our ponds or any water sources. Our total recyclables, which includes cardboard, aluminum, plastic, loose paper, tires, anything else that might be recyclable, it was a total of 77 tons. Our recyclable revenue, although it's not much, it was 9,404. the scrap tire revenue, because we do charge some residents. Most of our revenue, for tires come from businesses. Any business around the city of Pharr that does tire changes or does anything with tires, they do require a permit. And we do inspections, so they do have to pay that fee. So the total for the scrap tire revenue was $4,832. And our residential collection station revenue, which includes some tires, although minor, we do charge them $3 per tire. Anything over 4 tires, because 4 tires or less, it's free. And then the bulky items as well, it's a real minimal fee. So the total for that was $1,383. Overall, with everything that I just mentioned, it was $15,574. I also wanted to add that although we haven't included in these past few months our stormwater management, which includes our best management practices, is also part of our environmental services department. So what they do is we have 3 inspectors that go around the city, and they do inspections on developments, major developments, like all the businesses, the corporations that are coming from Los Angeles, New York, or any other cities that do major developments like 2,000-3,000 apartments. We're the ones that are in charge of making sure that they follow all the best practices managements. And that way none of that debris that they're working with gets into our water systems. So we are going to start adding that in our future presentations, because I think that makes a huge difference as well. We do have to go to plan review meetings, and there's usually about 3 to 4 meetings per development. So sometimes we do have to attend 30, 50 meetings per month. But it makes a huge difference, and that department plays a major role in our environmental services division. For this month, that's it. Like I said, it was going to be a shorter presentation. We are going to have our next event in Jones Box Park. That's going to be our next trash bash. So we're going to be open from 8 to 1. And what we're doing now, we're starting a week and a half prior to that, advertising in our social media, our website, City of Pharr website. And we're also going to include some of the flyers in our utility bills, so that way residents receive them. And that way they're more exposed to the dates and the locations where it's going to be at.
So this is Saturday, September 30th.
Yes, ma'am. The last last time we briefly introduced Ms.
Yes.
Montañez.
Yes.
She's our environmental educator, I apologize. And she's the one that's going to be overseeing our outreach programs and events at schools, businesses, and everywhere else.
And her name is Montañez.
And she's going to come up and just give you a brief presentation and introduce herself officially.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, look at this. Right.
So, good evening, Madam President and members of the board. My name is Cassandra Montañez. I am the new environmental educator for the City of Pharr's Public Works Department. I just wanted to say that I had my first presentation on Friday, September 15, here at Berta Palacios Elementary in South Pharr. I had 60 students and 4 adults. It was fun. The kids learned a lot about recycling. They had a lot of questions, which was good. The presentation was fun and educational. The students and I enjoyed it. And I also look forward to educating not only students but adults as well on the importance of recycling and to learn more about recycling in a fun and educational way. I will be attending more trainings that will improve my knowledge in this career so I could explain more about recycling to the adults as well. And well, I will also be attending a lot of events, the recycling events, the trash bashes and stuff like that. I will also be attending those. And well, thank you for allowing me to be present in these meetings, and have a good evening.
Cassandra, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, welcome.
Welcome.
And having taught 5th grade, and this makes me happy. It starts here, right?
Yes.
This is where it starts. So this is where we start. Well, I think the city's blessed to have you, and
Thank you.
I'm excited that we'll be able to be working with you and
Yes.
seeing you in action, and you'll be able to share your stories with us about
Yes.
what you've done and what you've learned too, because we're always learning too.
Yes.
We're always learning. But does anybody have any questions for?
We just want to welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Cassandra. Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Peña. Again, 3,000 tires. Thank you again. Thank you. So we move on with that. We move on to administrative item 2D. Any board comments at this time, sir? Ma'am? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Again, the meeting was just filled with so much wonderful information. I feel like every time we meet, we learn so much. I know our administration that's here, Ms. Pedraza came in again. Ms. Hilda Pedraza is another assistant city manager. Welcome. Welcome. We're blessed. We're blessed to have the staff, and they are, as you see, doing such a wonderful job. And it's crucial that the listening audience hears that. The way I look at this is these wonderful people come and they share their information from these vital departments, and all they're doing to help keep Pharr beautiful. And it's important for the listening audience to get it in this manner, I think, and for us to hear it. And then we continue the education process that way. So again, thank you for the opportunity for us to be able to do this. So I don't have anything else to add. Does anybody else have anything?
Thank you to everyone.
Yes.
That makes Team Pharr beautiful. We're making the difference, and we're growing. We're growing. Team Pharr is growing.
Without any further ado, I do want to just remind you, our next meeting here in October will be October 17th. And that'll be the Tuesday before the Saturday Rio Restoration is October 21st. Most importantly, this Thursday, Mr. Gamboa and Code and Health are having a block party, the 21st of September. This weekend, the 23rd on Saturday, Mr. Gamboa and company, Code, are going to be having their property maintenance program. They're going to be going out on Saturday the 23rd. Then I'm just trying not to miss anything in October that we're having before our next meeting. Again, before our next meeting at the end of the month, September 30th, the last day of the month, we will have the trash bash at Jones Box from 8 to 1 p.m. I highly encourage our committee, if you are curious and free and want to go lend a hand, these departments would be glad to welcome you and have you there to see what the crew does, what their crews do, and they do a marvelous job. So with that said, is there a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting?
Madam Chair, before we do that, just for the listening audience, we're not looking at our phones, is that we're going paperless, and so the agenda's there.
Yes, yes. Yes, thank you, Mr.
Yes.
So many of us, if we're looking down, we're taking notes. Everyone's taking notes on your info because it's profound. And the other thing is, we went paperless that way to save paper. And so I printed mine at my home, and then I'm going to go home and recycle it. Okay. But we decided as a committee to go paperless. It saves our, not only paper, but it saves time for our wonderful administrative assistant who takes so great care of us, Miss Cindy Munoz. And, you know, we are trying to set the example. So yes, forgive us if we're looking at our phones. It's that
Our agenda.
the agenda's on the phone, and so are our minutes. And for those of us who are looking down, we're taking notes. And we're also putting down on our calendars all the wonderful dates that we want to attend and know about. So thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to ask, all these wonderful dates or these events that are happening, I just went through Facebook, I went through the city webpage, and I went through 311, and I can't find a calendar or advertisement or
So-
anything.
This is a great question for administration, perhaps. It's been brought up in the past, if there's one clearinghouse for all the city events that occur. And just, you don't, might not have an answer today, but it's been brought up that is there a clearinghouse where we can see the department events that are being held, the major city functions incorporated in there, you know, all there. Is there some, it's been brought up, this is like the third meeting where it's been brought up, like, where do I find that? And I said, well, I only see it because I'm on social media and I just share everything, the city, the library, the fire, the police, but not everyone has that luxury or time, you know. So I don't know if you have a question, or just you let us know. Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I would love to share, advertise, put it out through the network, but I can't find a poster that you guys made that has a city logo, and so I don't know, and we were talking about sharing, but I don't have anything to share, and that, you know, anyway.
We can be more proactive on being bilingual. A lot of our community is bilingual.
yeah.
Please.
And again, we also understand that not everybody is social media connected.
We have a lot of elders that don't
Yeah.
do social media.
Yeah.
They see it on their water bill.
Yeah, it's water bill.
My parents.
The advance is really good, because there's a lot of people that aren't connected. But I will recommend again to the committee, the 311 app, like everything from the city of Pharr on social media, share everything you're seeing that is going on, because the media department is really good. I think there's a way to like have those feeds come out first, like in the morning when you open it up, to have those, like, you can like the library, the city of Pharr, you know, fire, police, oh my God, the chamber. I mean, I believe even the bridge, they all have there's always postings, and this is a good way of helping.
Just maybe a recommendation, maybe a text blast from the city of Pharr. I know I get a lot of messages like from political, from like, are you gonna go to events? Maybe we can do a text blast coming from the city of Pharr for our community, whatever we have, you
you
know,
ever
on
heard of that?
record.
The code red for emergencies. Have you signed up to that, for that?
No, ma'am.
I've gotten it. I've signed up. There's a code red that the city has, and if there's a citywide something going down, your water's gonna be, you know.
There's a lot of information on pharr-tx.gov, and it will give you upcoming events. But you
Okay.
have to-
What's Pharr? Oh, Pharr, is that the website?
Is that a,
That's Pharr's website.
So you got all the upcoming events that
Pharr.
happen.
You have to scroll all the way down and there's a calendar.
There's a calendar.
pharrtx.gov.
Maybe we can share more of that website, because we need to, the key is to educate our community.
So that is your proper website.
The
So
proper
that's
one.
not attached to the 311 app. Okay, okay.
So,
There you go.
I mean, I am getting older, so I'm not as good as the younger kids nowadays, but, I mean, I've been listening, but also looking, and I struggled finding it. I don't, up here you have, in your blocks, you have,
Go all the way down.
so if it's a calendar event, is it possible to put it
At the top of the page?
It's possible, it's just the way it's formatted
On the phone. It's the format on the phone.
Upcoming events. calendar
Oh,
events.
wow, it's way down there. Okay.
But those events you're talking about aren't showing on there, so I think it's communication. If
Yeah.
we get that to the right place. and
Just
get
have one
this-
clearinghouse, and then we would know, just look at Pharr
And that,
text.
that
Okay.
would be our media.
Yeah.
Correct, because they're the ones that.
And I feel like the event should be
Up higher.
Yes, that's what she was saying. So you don't, because we may, by the time you go all the way down, you're not even,
Halfway through.
And Hilda, there are some ways, I know there's some apps and stuff where you can, if you post it, like, for example, on your website, it automatically goes to your Facebook, it automatically goes to your Twitter, and it automatically goes to your app. So there is a way that you can do it in one centralized place, and then whoever fills out your calendar for all your departments goes there, and then it automatically streams out to all the other ones.
It is on the calendar?
Yeah, it is on the calendar, but it's not on your 311 calendar, and it's not on your Facebook events calendar. So there's like so many different places that people look, and that's what she's trying to say,
Yes.
is it's like there's.
Well,
and I would have never thought to look at the Pharr text.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, me
either.
neither.
I would have never thought to have looked at your
Never came
pharrtext.gov.
And the other, well, I did, and I still couldn't find it. But the other question I have is, does the city, of all the City of Pharr events, does it all go on the one Facebook page? And I don't know if you have Instagram or Twitter, but is it all in one portal, or is there, because there used to be a City of Pharr Parks and Rec, but it doesn't look like it's being used anymore. It doesn't have any modern events. So is it all going through one Facebook page, or are there multiple pages we have to pay attention to?
The city has
Their
the
own-
main page, and I know there's different departments, like the chamber, police department, they have their own pages, but they all link to the city.
Yes, because I've seen that, where what's posted on the library is also going to be posted on the cities.
The Facebook page.
Facebook stuff.
Okay, because I'm looking in that, I mean, there's fire stuff going on, the fire just happened.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been, except for the largest event, the Pharr Hub Fest, that was the last event that was posted.
Okay.
Those were the Go Live videos, so we haven't done
A go live video. Okay.
That's why that calendar, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But we'll try to add upcoming calendars with the dates, the time,
Yeah.
and everything in the Facebook.
And I couldn't see any of these beautiful flyers that were up on the screen. I couldn't find them either, like on the City of Pharr Facebook page. So I think not only events, but if the flyers are posted, we can definitely share and.
It's easier to share. Okay.
I know during our city council meetings, we do have city events of interest, and the city manager reports those, and they bring up the flyers on the screen, and our media team, they report on the events, they explain the event, the date and time, and everything. So we try to incorporate those in our city council meetings.
Just real quick, major events,
Pardon?
like a hub or,
Oh, if you can talk on a mic, because, well, should I adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
We're still live, okay.
You want to adjourn?
What do you recommend? Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Hilda Peraza, one of the assistant city managers. And like I was mentioning, the City of Pharr has the website, and we have a calendar of events at the bottom of the website. So all those events are linked to our Facebook account and Instagram accounts, but we will make sure that those get updated in a timely manner. We also, during our city council meetings, we show the flyers, and during the city manager's events of interest, we report any upcoming events within 2 weeks. And we also have our media, the public information officer, Yuri Gonzalez, she's the one that comes up and gives information on the events, the dates, the times, and everything that's happening in the city. But we'll definitely look into that upcoming events on the
Like,
Facebook page.
None of us would have thought to
No.
look at pharrtext.gov until you brought it. I would have never, for some reason, I just assumed everything was found in 311 app or the.
Ms. Hilda, I wanted to make a recommendation. Our president, we had said earlier that we want to educate the whole community. And maybe, I see the lady that does the videos right now had seen the Share Gone Live. Maybe we can do more live videos, or maybe just more visual on our events, our cleaning and stuff, so we can educate our community so they can be more alert, because I guess that when they see visual, they get more invited, like they get more welcoming when they see visual, or like they see the events. Like right now, if you see the live event where she went, that there was a fire, everybody was seeing it. So visual is very important.
I see what you're saying, for her to go live at some of these
Yes,
events.
yeah, for her to go
Like-
making the recommendation for like Mr. Peña's event.
Trash bash,
Trash,
yeah.
because a lot of people in South Las Milpas, Jones, they don't know. They won't know.
we
But
need to
I will. I know that Ms. Caballero shares a lot of her stuff, a lot of the city posts, and I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna start educating more and more.
Share it.
Share it.
Share
Yeah,
it. Just
like-
share it.
yeah, share.
Just share everything that we
Probably
see.
do like a public service announcement, like a video of that event before, like you said, like 1 or 2 weeks before the event.
I know that what I've seen that Yuri and the media department does is that she will, they will promote the event, because we'll see the Trash Bash event come up. I've seen that and then I also see after the fact, like, where they're already like, thank you, it was very successful, and there'll be some pictures of people taking the tires out of their trunk and, helping put their recyclables. The cleaning, the property maintenance program, I've seen actually where they're like at a home and they're finished, like where they've been mowing, and then when they're finished in the big group, and it's just like so inspiring to see that. I've also seen where somebody from code is hammering and putting the plaques up over the garage, which is really cool. But are you saying that it would be nice to go live at one of these events?
Maybe live, or just do a video where we educate our voters that we have a recycling bin. We have, a center that a lot of people go to McAllen and they go pay and they don't even know that we have one. We have one here in the police department, and they don't know.
I think it's just a matter of meeting with Yuri and just maybe
Just
we'll ask her
having
to
that
come to a
conversation.
meeting.
I know they
next
do
time.
a lot, and
They do a
they
lot.
do an excellent job, and they're always out there on the events promoting the city, and
yes,
we,
yes,
like
yes,
you
yes.
mentioned previously, we have an amazing team. I
Yes.
mean, everybody here,
Yes.
it's amazing, and we love
Yes.
our city employees and their hard workers.
I almost hate to give them more work. I almost hate to give them more work, but
And I'm also a recycling advocate.
yes.
I
Yes.
recycle every week.
Yes. Well,
Thank you,
if
Ms.
there's no more questions for Ms. Hilda, so I know that we're already run out of a lot of time here, and I thank you again for coming, and sir,
You're
for being
welcome.
here as well. And not only our administration, but our directors and our staff that are here. And again, thank you so much for all your hard work. I mean, this is a great example of we are Team Pharr, right?
And you guys are part of it because you volunteer your time, and we appreciate it
Well,
a
thank you,
lot.
Ms. Hilda.
Thank you, Ms. Pedrosa.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, again, our next meeting is October 17th on a Tuesday. We're looking forward to an organized tour on that date. We will be meeting here, and then we will leave from here. So with that said, I just want to bless you and send you home safely. And again, a great amount of thanks to the board here, the staff. I need a motion on the floor to adjourn this meeting, please.
So moved.
Okay, we've got Romeo Cantu, and then we've got a second with Ms. De La Garza. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, with that said, the meeting is adjourned. God bless you all. Be safe and be well. Thank you.